Here we are, guys. Brandon Lewis filling in for Michael Yaffee. I'm the publisher of the Tennessee Conservative News, the state's only and largest conservative news alternative, unbought, unpurchased, funded exclusively by grassroots. I'm so glad to be here. If you want to know more about what we do at the Tennessee Conservative, go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com. Of course, you can follow us on Gab, Getter, Truth, MeWe, Rumble, Facebook, anywhere that you get your news. You know, we were talking and have been talking a lot about illegal alien education in Hamilton County and how it's really hurting our kids and how our school board won't do anything about it and, in fact, endorses it despite being in opposition with their GOP primary voters by 80%. But there's also this other thing going on in Hamilton County that you may not know, has a Hamilton County connection, and that is if you're a homeschooler. There was a bill, a pro-homeschooling bill, that was endorsed by both the State and National Homeschooling Association, died in the House Education Committee this year. And essentially the bill just said, hey, if you want to educate your kids, you can do it without the state government having any oversight. And there are 13 states that have passed this legislation. But it came to committee, and of course people that serve on the Education Committee are often lapdogs for the education industry. They were teachers, they were this, they were that. They start getting funded by the teachers' unions and every other teacher PAC and lobbyists. And they just slowly but surely over time, instead of taking the lead from their constituents on how to vote, they take the lead from the bureaucrats, the government employees, who are, performing pretty poorly in education in Tennessee right now overall. They take their advice. And so there was essentially this family right to educate your kids however you want to, or the Emancipation Act, Free Act. And it was killed because William Slater said, there are a few bad parents that might do bad things, and so therefore we can't give people their God-given rights to educate their kids without government oversight. And I'm thinking, every stinking week, usually every day, not every week, every day, we report a story in the Tennessee Conservative about a teacher or somebody in a school that has assaulted, molested, stolen from, injured, just whatever. I mean, it's like a long list of bad behavior out of the government school systems. But Slater never says, hey, let's shut down the government school systems because something bad might happen. In fact, something definitely bad will happen. We report on it all the time. And it was because some judges sent a letter, and that's what they're saying, to the committee. And one of them was a committee, was a juvenile court judge, sent something in, and one of the people that made that happen in our community was Rob Filial, who's a judge here in town. And I talked to him on the phone, and he had the same opinion, and that is, you should be stripped of your constitutional rights to educate your child as you see fit, because there might be a bad parent out there who will abuse the freedom. Well, I mean, you could make that argument for every single solitary freedom we have. Somebody might abuse it. Well, of course they do. All freedoms are abused. You got the freedom to eat whatever you want to. If you be 300 pounds and kill yourself. We got freedom of the Second Amendment. Somebody going to abuse that? Yes. We give people the freedom to go around without the government knowing what they're doing. Will they occasionally break into somebody's house or shoot somebody or do some other dastardly deed? Yes. And freedom comes with a price, right? And that's what we need to start understanding in education, is that freedom comes with a price, and we need to start putting these kids and these parents first, because the government education experiment is not going very well. It is typically my opinion that the government, and it's not my opinion, this is a fact, the government does not do anything very well that is overly complicated and that requires high degrees of customer service and satisfaction. Well, that's what education is. I run a school for a living. That's how I make my money. I run an academy for professional painting contractors. And so I know a lot about how to start a school, develop curriculum, to keep clients, to keep students, to teach them, to give them the tools they need to succeed. And I've got a long track record of success in doing that. Hundreds and hundreds of people that could tell you across 6 different countries. And as I look at what's going on in education, what I see basically is the Republican Party does not have the will, and in many cases not even the desire, to fix problems. Problems as a business coach, or even a consultant for people that run for office, when you've got a really big problem, something that's super difficult, like a bad situation, which we have in education and illegal immigration in Tennessee, it's like when I go to look at a business that's falling apart, that's not functioning, that's not making any money. You're not going to be able to nibble around the edges and fix it. You're not going to be able to make a slight change here or there. You're not going to be able to keep all your low-performing employees. You can't. There are certain problems that cannot be fixed without massive action, disruption, pain. If you want something to be better later, often there is a price to be paid today. And what I see is, generally speaking, our politicians are completely unwilling to pay the price to fix it. And what's the price? The price is getting the slings and the arrows from the liberal media, like the Chattanooga Times Free Press and the corporate reporters on radio and TV in Tennessee. That's a price. Being called names by Democrats, being attacked by government bureaucrats, losing a little social status. That's usually enough. I mean, politicians are pretty easily cowed. A little bit of money, a little bit of bad press. They will leave their constituents in the lurch in a heartbeat. You snap a finger, they're gone. And so what we've got to do is continually and constantly put more people into office that have thick skin, that will be true servant leaders, that will not listen to people that don't even send them to freaking office. But sometimes people use the people to send them to office to get to office, and then they just run their own agenda, which is what we see a lot of. So, guys, my appeal to you would be this. I always say that I can tell if you're a conservative by looking at two things. I can look at your checkbook, and I can look at your calendar. And if the only thing that you have to show for being a quote-unquote conservative is watching 15 hours of Fox News and consuming 43 hours of podcasts and reading books and searching the internet, if that's all you've got is like a handful of hours a week consuming conservative media, we're in trouble. We are freaking in trouble. It's great to educate yourself, but there is a point of diminishing returns with education. I recommend that you find local organizations that you can plug into, and that you put your time and your money into those organizations, and you put it into the candidates, and you put it into the causes that will make a difference at the state and local level right in your backyard. Knock on some doors, make some phone calls, put out some yard signs, fund a local politician, write a check for $5, $10, $50, bucks, $100 a month, whatever you can do. Some of you are wealthy and have done well. Write $1,000, $2,000 check to somebody who's really conservative, because what happens is the corporations and the lobbyists fill the vacuum that conservative Christians leave when we don't put the time and money in, but they do. So guys, TennesseeConservativeNews.com. Don't be in the uneducated masses. Get in the know.